In this video, I'm going to talk to you about work-life balance. Is it achievable? Is it feasible? Is it something that as a mortgage professional or financial services professional that you can aspire to, that you can achieve? I believe you can have work-life balance. And I say that because for 10 years, I spent 2006 until 2015 building my business the wrong way. I still managed to have success. It was almost 7 figures, doing high 5-figure profits. It enabled me to move into the house that I am now living in. But it also enabled me to find my niche in self-employed mortgages. Now that first business took me back to work 3 days after my first daughter was born. It had me trapped paying 20 grand a month on low quality leads. And maybe like you didn't know, or I didn't know, what I didn't know. I thought I had to work all the hours that God sends. I thought that I had to be in the office consistently, otherwise nothing would happen. And I think this is a big mistake and a big myth.
Welcome to the Financial Pro Podcast.
My belief, and I would love to know what you think about this, is that you have to start with intention. You have to begin with the end in mind. Many of my coaching clients and financial services professionals that I work with come to me because they've got a team, they've got people, and they are still working all the hours that God sends. They still see themselves as the biggest contributor to the sales targets, and yet the fear that they have is because they are getting 100% of the commissions that they're earning. And it's like, yes, but my business wouldn't survive without me writing that business, without me earning that income. Now, I completely disagree with that, because every single one of you and I have exactly the same amount of hours in a day. And the belief shift is that you have to understand that you have superpowers. You have things that you are absolutely amazing and fantastic at. And when we start out in business, first of all, the difficulty is, as I mentioned, you don't know what you don't know. When you first start out, you wear all the hats of a business owner. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing the systems, you're doing the compliance, you're doing the lead generation, you're doing the advising, you're doing the research, you're doing the finances, the bookkeeping. And it's about understanding you need to give away as much of that as possible. But the first principle is knowing your numbers inside out. Once you have a clear indication of what your numbers are currently and what they need to be in order to be able to support the team without you having to sell, if that is what you should choose to do, then everything becomes much easier. So here's the thing on work-life balance. Everybody has a different version of what you feel work-life balance is. For some, it might be working 6 hours a day. For some, because you're passionate and you enjoy what you do, it might be working 15 hours a day. The thing is you have to realize what your own version of work-life balance is. And the key is making sure that you're working to live, not living to work. Your business, your income should support you and give you the life that you are accustomed to, the life that you realistically want to live. And this is why when a business owner or a financial services professional comes to me and says, Gary, I've got a team of 6 advisors and I'm absolutely trapped. I don't know how to remove myself. How many admins have you got? 2? It's not enough. What marketing are you doing? Not a lot. It's not enough. There's systems and there's processes and there's methods to make this work. I was the only advisor in 2016 when it was just myself and my PA starting out. I brought in a marketing assistant because I knew that lead generation is the most important function in the business. Attracting ideal clients is the most important function. So therefore I leveraged out the administration because that stopped me selling and making money. It then became a case of how do I grow? Now, most advisors that I speak to have this thought process that they need to bring in advisors as soon as possible. I completely disagree with that. When I got into mortgages pre-credit crunch, it used to be 80% sales and 20% administration. That has completely flipped on its head now. It is now 80% administration and 20% sales. It's become more transactional than ever. So I always advise my mentees that you should actually have a pre and a post-sale admin before you even contemplate bringing in an advisor. That will cost you 25 grand a year rather than costing you potentially 50% of the money that they make. You could easily uplift your sales by having 2 administrators by 100 grand a year and pay out 25 grand to a really good admin instead of paying out 50 grand, 50% to a half decent advisor. This is where so many people go wrong. Admin is vital. So how do you really achieve work-life balance? Well, having built a business the wrong way for almost 10 years, feeling like I needed to be in work, there's a few things practically that you can do. And the first one is going to be sitting down and working out your vision for the next 12 months. What does your income need to be? What do the leads need to be to support that income? What hours do you actually want to work? What is, build an architectural design of what you want your life to look like in the next 12 months from now. What time do you want to be getting up? What time do you want to work out? What time do you want to have lunch? When do you most importantly want to pick up your kids or see your kids or sit down and have dinner with your wife, your husband, your partner, whatever it might well be? How do you want your ideal day to look? And then off of the back of understanding that, you can start to build the business that supports it. When you notice that you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, you bring in somebody else in order to be able to do them. And this comes back to the most important point of knowing your numbers. Now, work-life balance is subjective. I love what I do. I love working. I love creating content. I love helping my coaching clients and my mentees. I love social media. And I also, of course, love my family. I love doing nothing. I love working out. I love chilling out on the sofa and watching movies. So for me, discipline is vital. But time chunking my day is vital. Knowing what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and what I'm doing during that time that I've allocated, so I am therefore focused. Time management is a key part of having some form of work-life balance. Now, in order to grow, in order to delegate, in order to move through plateaus, you have to delegate and elevate. But you also have to understand that going through that delegation, bringing in new team, implementing new systems, launching a new marketing campaign, taking yourself to the next level requires short-term pain for long-term gain. You have to know that at least once every quarter there's going to be hours and time and weekends or evenings that you're sacrificing in order to be able to get to the next stage of your business growth or your business development. When you understand where you are going, you allocate in the short-term pain. It's a necessary evil. And then you just build that into your process. So at least once every quarter, I understand I'm going to have to do some extra hours. I work every day. Every single day I work because I enjoy it. But I have work-life balance. If I want to go for a walk, I go for a walk. If I want to do a couple of hours on a weekend, I do a couple of hours on a weekend. It's about making sure that it is structured to your day and your week. If you aren't currently living the life that you want, if you are working till 2 o'clock in the morning, if you're up at 6 a.m. going all the way through till 3 o'clock in the morning, that's unsustainable. And the question is really, are you happy doing that? If you can honestly swear down you are happy doing that, then you have achieved your own version of work-life balance because it is subjective to what you want to achieve. But you really need to focus. And if you're feeling like you're stuck, if you're a one-person army and you're not sure what to do next, then you need support, you need help, you need coaching. If you're not bringing in the leads that you really want and you're attracting the wrong type of clients into your business, then you need to learn lead generation, marketing, customer acquisition, systems, processes, automations. In order to become a business owner, a generalist of many areas, you have to learn. And that was my mistake for 10 years. I didn't learn about business. I knew about mortgages. I knew how to sell insurance, but I didn't really learn about business. I'd run a 6-figure a month business for somebody else, but I'd never owned a six-figure business myself. So I only had 70% of the skills, shall we say, to run that level of business. And I was able to almost get back to that level in the space of 10 years after multiple upscalings and downscalings. The difference is, when you want to grow to new heights, you have to have someone who has been there and already done it. Someone who can show you how not to do it the hard way. It's much cheaper and easier and faster to learn through the mistakes of others rather than trying to figure it all out on your own. And particularly in financial services, you seem to feel like everything is a cost, whereas actually it's not. It's an investment. Building a marketing machine that enables you to put £1 in and spits £5 back out. Some of you can self-learn that stuff. To a degree, I've learned that stuff since 2016 and have been able to automate it, systemize it, and pass it on to the management of others. What took me 3.5, maybe even 4 years, in fact, looking back. It just depends. Do you want the fast track, or do you want to figure it all out on your own? The same goes for recruitment, for team leadership, for management, for scaling. It's all about understanding how you can get to the next level. And having work-life balance is 100% achievable. But you have to start with the strongest foundations. You have to know what moves to make and what mistakes to avoid in order to maintain that work-life balance. It's the same as lifting weights or working out in the gym. You know, you have to know, if you're a sprinter, when to sprint and when to rest and recuperate, when to allow the plateau to set in. In the same lifting weights, if you want to lose weight or you want to gain muscle, you have to know when to change your diet. You have to know when you're not sleeping properly. You have to know when to train, when to rest, recover and recuperate. Business is exactly the same. If you're in the same place that you were in 12 months ago and you're frustrated by the lack of work-life balance, then something's got to change. And it has to start with clearly identifying your vision in terms of what you want your day to look like. Because if you're building a house, an architect has to design it first before they can put the foundations in and start to build it. That's how you stay structured. That's how you stay on point. And you have to appreciate that it's a marathon, not a sprint. In order to remove yourself from the day-to-day, in order to only focus on customer calls and client relationships, you have to have people. You have to have team. If it's just you as a solopreneur with no administration, then you've just created another job for yourself. So I hope that inspires you and I hope that gives you something to think about. I believe it's really important that as a self-employed individual, no matter what industry you're from, you have at least 2 people on your team. It could be 2 administrators, 2 PAs. It could be an administrator and a marketing assistant. But admin is much cheaper than sales. Admin is much cheaper than advisors. And if you can build in the processes to do the lower value tasks and you focus on the higher income generating, money making activities, then you're going to get the fast track to more results. You're going to increase your profits. And if you're a busy fool, if you're not feeling productive, if you've got team and you're still working all the hours that God sends, then something has to shift. Live to work. No, work to live, not live to work. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. Remember, now's the time to become pro.